Hello guys, and welcome to another episode of Latino World Travelers virtual travel party. Today we're going to celebrate with the amazing Cheyenne, and she's going to introduce us to a truly unbelievable experience in Belize. So join us on this trip because it's going to be amazing. I can tell you all that. Welcome, Cheyenne.
Hi everybody.
Hi.
I hope everybody's doing fine.
We
I'm super excited to share my Belize experience with you guys. I love Belize so much. This is going to be amazing. And it's going to be really hard to sum up such a beautiful country in a limited amount of time. But I do want to thank Vanessa for creating this platform for everybody to express their travel experience. And if you guys have any questions about Belize afterwards, please let me know. There's so much about Belize. Please contact me. There's like a lot.
Yes,
so
definitely make sure you use the chat function to ask questions, or you could raise your hand if you want to ask, unmute yourself and ask a question directly, or you could wait completely at the end. Any method that you want to choose, Cheyenne is here for you to answer any questions that you may have about Belize.
Perfect. Shall we get started?
Yes.
All right. So it's so hard to, like, when you travel, to pick a country, especially in the Caribbean, because there's so many countries. But I did my research on Belize for like 2 years, and the more I learned about the country of Belize, the more I fell in love with it. And so, I mean, I've been everywhere from like Mexico, and just other places, but Belize will always be in my heart. Like, I would honestly retire there because it's so great. One of the things that I did like about Belize are the people of Belize. They look like me, they look like Vanessa, they look like Serena. It's just a big melting pot of people. The girl in the yellow is Garifuna, and Garifunas are basically, their background is they came from the island of St. Vincent and migrated to Belize. So it's a lot of African influence mixed with Spanish influence. The girl with the beautiful red necklace is mestizo. Mestizos are found in the northern part of Belize, and they come from Mexico, and then they migrate south to Belize. The third girl with the beautiful plaid print is Creole. And you hear Creole all the time, like when you're in the United States in Louisiana, because Creole has French, Indian, and European history. And it was really cool to see that they had Creole in Belize, because you never hear about Creole. You hear about Creole in the United States. The fourth lady in purple is of Maya. So when you hear Maya, you think of Mayan. And you will find most of the Mayans in the southern part of Belize as you get closer to Guatemala and Honduras. And so it's just a big melting pot of beautiful faces, beautiful colors, beautiful smells, like smiles, happiness. And that's what makes Belize so great. The other cool thing about Belize too is that there's different types of languages spoken. But English is the primary language. And so my Spanish is not that good. My husband's Spanish is really good. So I wanted somewhere where I didn't have to ask him, like, como se dice, or like translate or what. And so with Belize being English, it was very easy to talk to the locals. There is like a lot of Spanish speaking too, but their primary language is English. And then you have Creole, Belizean Creole, which is kind of like, some people say it's Jamaican, but Jamaica's a country. It's not a language, but it is like broken English. So it sounds like, the more of the islanders speak the Belizean Creole, the broken English, where they take a word and they chop it up to make it a shorter word. I'm not going to demonstrate my Creole. It's really bad. So, but if you go to YouTube and you Google or you put in Belizean Creole, you'll get an idea of what Belizean Creole is.
Dominicans do that all the time. We cut words like crazy.
Oh my God, and quick. Dominicans are quick. So my family history is Cubans, but the Dominicans are on it.
For sure.
So one thing about Belize that I found was it's very cheap to get there. And so our flights were super cheap. It would be like going to New York. So you would normally pay around like $350 or $400 for a round trip ticket to New York. That's the same price you would pay for Belize. We literally paid $700 for 2 round trip tickets to Belize, and which was really cool. So our flight, because I live in Colorado, so from Colorado to Houston, it was 2 hours, and then we had like a 40-minute layover. After that layover from Houston to Belize, it was another 2 hours. So it only took about like 4 hours in a sense to go from the United States to Belize. Now, if you live in like the southern part of the United States, it will only take you about 2 or 3 hours to get to Belize because you're going south. So that was another deal for me, is how cheap it was to go to Belize. Like the flights round trip are super cheap. One thing that we looked at too was, where are we going to stay in Belize? Like what city we're going to stay in, what island are we going to stay in? We decided to do an island because the city of Belize is very like congested, Belize City, and it's not the safest place that you would want to stay. Although we did have to stay in Belize City one night, it wasn't scary, but it was a little bit different. And so we did stay on an island, and we'll get to that island in a minute, but we found Airbnb to be the best pick for our stay. And we found this resort on Airbnb, and it was not an all-inclusive resort, which I like because I like to go out and eat. I like to not just be confined to that resort. I like to branch out. So our Airbnb for a week was it was $486.58.
Wow, that's a very good price.
That's a good price. So for the flight and for our stay for a week, that's like close to $1,100 for a week vacation in Central America, the gem of Central America.
Yeah.
So the cool thing about our Airbnb is we had poolside. We would just come down the stairs of our Airbnb. They look like little townhomes, and there was a pool right there. We had housekeeping every day. We had free Wi-Fi. It was absolutely amazing. The only thing I disliked about the Airbnb we stayed in, the running water was cold. So if you stay on the island that we stayed in, which I'll talk about next, check and make sure if you're one of those people that need like hot water, because that's what we're used to, check into that. But we did not know that our showers were going to be cold showers.
Oh.
But it's so humid and hot on the island that it wasn't that bad. So that was the downfall of the Airbnb. But the price was good. The rooms were clean. Anytime we had an issue, they were on top of things. We would just go downstairs. And right here, this little view that you see, that's our view facing the living room looking out.
Mm-hmm. But the weather was warm, right?
It was. So we went October the 16th through the like 23rd.
Mm-hmm.
And so the weather was warm. Also, October's hurricane season. So with hurricanes comes warm weather. And I advise you guys not to go in October, and we'll get into that. But the weather was really warm. It was really nice. If I were to go back, it would be during the dry season, which is the winter time. The problem with me going in the winter time is I live in Colorado, so it snows here, and airports shut down. So to get a flight out is like a waiting game. So that's why we went in October. So this is a picture of me in Belize City. As you can see, Belize City is not the prettiest. It's a very low income city. The reason why it's low income is because Belize was hit with a hurricane. And so they're still trying to rebuild due to that hurricane. It like completely destroyed the city. And so Belize City used to be the capital of Belize. And because it hit Belize City so bad, they had to move the capital to like an area with no, like not surrounded by water, like in the middle of Belize, which is Belmopan. And that's the capital now. Okay. So they shifted the capital to like a dry area that's not surrounded by water.
So when you arrived in Belize City though?
Yes, we arrived in Belize City. And then we had to take a ferry over to our island. And the ferry was a 45-minute boat ride. They actually call them water taxis. So it's a water taxi and it holds about like 50 people. And the cool thing about the water taxis is they run like every hour and a half and they're super cheap. So a round trip ticket on a water taxi is $25.
That's good.
Which is great. And so one thing about Belize too is the currency. So $1 US is $2 Belize. So your money doubles in Belize.
Oh, that's good.
So you can get a lot with the American dollar out in Belize.
You get a lot for your money. That's great.
Oh, you get a lot for your money. It's amazing. So we would go out to eat and a $50 dinner was $25 US money. So you do get a lot for your money. So when I travel, I like to do adventure things. I'm from Colorado. I like to, go out and explore. And we kind of separated our trip by what we want to do on the land and what we want to do at sea. So what we did on the land is we went to the Mayan ruins. We went to the zoo. We went to San Ignacio, which is like the southeast part of Belize, and it's close to Guatemala. And it was absolutely amazing. And there's so much free stuff you could do. One thing we did in San Ignacio is they have a farmer's market. So we got to see fruit and buy fruit that we normally wouldn't get back home. That was like, you can find in Belize. And so just walking through the market, smelling the spices, people are just absolutely nice. You hear music just playing. People are like, there's entertainment going on in this small farmer's market, which looks like it's in a plaza. So the farmer's market, you definitely check out if you go to San Ignacio, as well as the shops that they have. And also the Mayan ruins are super cheap out there to visit.
I'm taking notes. Trust me, I'm going there for sure.
You have to. So there's a couple Mayan ruins in San Ignacio, which is a big Mayan town. A lot of the Mayans lived in San Ignacio, or they call it KO district. Because we went during hurricane season, the big Mayan ruin we wanted to go to, you have to take a river. You have to get on like a river boat to cross it. And it was flooded because of the rain. So we had to find a ruin that was on land. Okay. And this is a picture of me on the land ruin. And it's called K Hall Beck. And it's spelled weird, and I will spell it for you or show you in the next one. But it is absolutely amazing. It's just a smaller Mayan ruin, but it literally cost us $5 US to go into the ruin.
Wow. I've never heard of that.
Yes.
Type of price for any ruins.
Right. And for it to be small, it was really big. Like we climbed to the highest tempo and like coming down was scary because Mayans are very small in stature people. So the way that they would build was like suitable for their, for their small legs. So it's easy to go up, but coming down, you have to like kind of walk at an angle because it's really steep. But it was absolutely amazing to see where they live, their stadium that they had. So I learned a lot about their stadium, where they, their jails, their dungeons, where they would torture and sacrifice. Just like seeing all these trees that are like 100 years old there. It was absolutely the best time I ever had.
Mhm.
And a
That
lot of these,
that place where it says Belize there, where is that located? Because I know there's some people that have that as their bucket list, going to places and taking pictures like that.
uh-huh, it's everywhere on the island. But that was in Belize City. And it seems like every single like major city has that sign. So that was in Belize City. There's one in like San Ignacio has their San Ignacio one. There's another Belize sign in San Pedro, which we'll talk about next, I believe. So that sign is everywhere. If you're close to like a coastline or a shore, that sign, you will probably find that sign there.
Okay, awesome.
And if you can't find it, ask the locals. They're really nice. They'll pretty much walk you to it, or they'll, you know, give you the directions that they have to tell you.
Okay, sounds like a plan.
So this is like more of the Mayan ruins. There's my husband, and he's basically in a sleeping quarter. So that's where like the king or their, you know, would stay in and sleep. And then there's trees, there's their stadium. The thing that looks like a vent is a dungeon. So there's a lot of history with the Mayan ruins. And it's so fabulous to learn about the culture. We didn't pay for a tour guide. And this is the reason why we didn't. There was already a tour going on. So we just kind of followed the tour, but stayed on the outskirts, and we could hear everything about this. Also, we went to the tourism board before we went to the ruin, and they basically they tell you everything, which is free.
Oh.
So always, if you're going out of the country, always get like a booklet or contact a tourism board, because they're there to give you free information. They're just sitting there. They want to educate people on their country. They want you to come back. They want you to tell your family and friends. They want you to present it in Latino World Travelers. They want you to have tourism in Belize. So the tourism board is always the way to go.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So then, I mean, we did more stuff on land, but that was some of the memorable stuff that we did. The sea was very interesting. Because it rained a lot. It was hurricane season, but it would only rain for like an hour and then it would stop. And then the sand soaks up the rain, so then the sand is dry again. But one of the things that we didn't get to do is go to this blue hole. And so this is called the Great Blue Hole. And they do tours on that. You can actually go dive in, but it's 450 feet. So if you're not an expert scuba diver, don't go. You can, because 450 feet deep is like, that's a lot of pressure. If you do ever want to see the blue hole, they do have helicopter tours. And they also, you can take like a boat and kind of like go around it, but it's a sinkhole. So you have to be very, very careful because there's a drop because of the sinkhole. But it is the, it's crazy. It's the second largest barrier reef that surrounds the blue hole. So it's second to the Great Barrier Reef in Australia.
So can you go snorkeling and that kind of stuff, or?
You can, but not too close to the sinkhole. You'll fall in.
Oh my God.
So do you see where like the land is that surrounds that dark blue hole?
Yes.
You probably want to be closer to the land.
Okay.
But you can snorkel. There's a lot of marine life that is there. They have sea cows, which are manatees, sea turtles, lionfish, whale sharks, dolphins, and dolphins are everywhere. When we were on the island, so this is Key Cocker, and it looks like K Cocker, but it's pronounced Key Cocker.
I would have never known.
There's that Creole again, Key Cocker. And so the thing about Key Cocker, it's a really small island. It's probably, I think, a couple miles long. It's not that big. And so when the hurricane hit again, it split the island. So as you go to one side of the island, there's a sign that says the split. And the island's like split. It's really cool. So it took out a chunk of the island with the hurricane. And so that chunk is it's just a way to go see how it was like ripped in half, the island pretty much. But Key Calker is really pretty. It's surrounded by water. It's like a fisherman town. Every day we would go walking in the morning, and we would see dolphins just jumping in the sea, just really pretty dolphins, stingrays. Like I tried to get in the water one time and there was like a really big stingray. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna get out of the water because this is like a little dangerous. But there's so many like cool things to do in Key Calker. I highly recommend Key Calker, just because the locals really appreciate it and they're very helpful. And Key Calker is part of.
How's the fish there? Because it's a fisherman town.
So my husband's a fisherman, and I would go take a nap and he would come back with like a weird fish. And so I'm like, I've never seen that fish in my life. And he's like, I've never seen it either. So you could just like literally walk out of your hotel or Airbnb. You can ask for a fishing pole, and the locals love it. They will give you a fishing pole.
Wow.
And so my husband got to sit on the pier, like the dock, and he got to fish while I was sleeping. So he had the time of his life out there.
A truly immersive experience. That's amazing.
Yes, and because it is a fisherman town, you get the best seafood ever. I mean, the best lobster I ever had was in Key Calker.
Wow.
And people are very simple, and they will go out, and if you ask for like, what's the meal of the day, they'll say, hold on 1 second, go send somebody out, they'll jump in the sea, grab a lobster, come back, and it's lobster for the day.
What?
And you're like, that wasn't on the menu. So it's amazing.
It's whatever they catch at there. That's so cool.
It is cool. And it's the food, like as you guys can see, the food is absolutely amazing. So the picture with the eggs, the bacon, the refried black beans, and these like pillowy looking desserts, that's a Belizean breakfast.
Oh.
That bread is called fried jack, and oh my God, you guys have to try fried jack. It's a staple in Belize. Fried jacks are the best. It's like having a sopapilla. It's their way of like biscuits, but it's not as heavy and solid because there's so much to do on the island. They don't want you to be weighed down. They want you to go and explore. So the fried jacks, every day I had a Belizean breakfast because I am like stuck on fried jacks.
Wow.
You can have them sweet, you can have them savory, you can stuff them with, eggs and bacon if you want, and dip it in your beans, or however you want to have it. You can go crazy with fried jacks.
That
And
sounds
that's
delicious.
the beauty of Belize. Yes. Yes. So the picture below is the lobster. That was the catch of the day. So somebody went out, caught us lobsters. That lobster dinner was $10 US.
Wow. And what was the name of the restaurant or place that you went?
It's called Brisas del Mar.
Brisas del Mar?
Yep. And we ate there so much that we became friends with the owner. And they're like our family. They're waiting for us to come back to Belize. And I love them. They stay in touch with us. We send them stuff from the US. They are anxiously waiting for us to come back to Belize. And they're welcoming us with open arms.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. It was really cool. Like my husband got to be friends with the owner's son, and they would go play basketball on the island, or they would talk and like have drinks. And they're just the people of Key Calker are genuine people.
Yes.
And you don't get that all the time. They're not out to like steal your money or scam you. They are out to give you a great experience.
That's very nice.
Yeah.
I definitely want to go there when I go to Belize, for sure.
Oh, you have to go there.
I'm going to say Cheyenne sent me. Take care of everything.
Oh, and they will. I'll be like, you know what? My friend Vanessa's coming. Make sure she has the best dinner ever on us. Like, so this picture, you see food and then you see an animal. That animal is called a jib nut. Gibnut, a gibnut.
Oh my God. You ate that?
Oh, no.
Okay.
However, it is a very popular dish in Belize. And the
Wow.
picture below, the gibnut is actually what it looks like served. It looks like stewed meat with rice and beans or rice and peas and like salad.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard it tastes like
I
rabbit
will
meat.
try it. I try everything, so I will definitely try this. It looks delicious.
Well, they call it the royal rat. So I don't know if you want to have some royal rat for dinner, but but you should try it. And I think next time I go to Belize, I may have a little piece of it. It just seeing that little animal, which I had an encounter with at the Belizean zoo, and then just I don't know. I'll try it next time though, Vanessa, and I'll let you know how it tastes.
Yes.
Um, Another one of my favorite foods was this tamale. In the United States, we get tamales in corn husk, and in Belize, they serve them in plantain leaves
Mm-hmm.
with cornmeal or masa and like pork or chicken, or maybe even the gibnut. But it was the most amazing tamale I've had in my life. I'm a big tamale fan just because there's Latino in my family,
Mm-hmm.
and I live in Colorado, and there's a big like New Mexican Latino influence here, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know what a tamale tastes like, but I didn't really know what a tamale tastes like until I went to Belize.
Wow. Did you add
And it
some
was
hot
amazing.
sauce?
Oh my God, you didn't need it. It was so good. Like you didn't need to add any flavor. And I got it from a street vendor. So we'll talk about street vendors a little bit later, but
Mm-hmm.
do not knock street vendors. They make the best food. They're very clean out there in Belize. They are awesome and amazing and very accommodating for you. So, yep, it was really good. I didn't really need to add any spices to anything because everything was already seasoned perfectly.
Oh, good, good. You,
Yeah.
what about the nightlife? Did you go out? How is
Oh my
it?
God. The nightlife is amazing, especially when you're on an island. You just hear music everywhere at night. So the music will take you into the bar. You don't have to go looking for it. Your body will literally move into the bar. And it's just so amazing. Like we would hear hip hop, or we would hear jazz or reggaeton or reggae, or, so we just kind of flowed where the music felt good and the energy felt right. And so the nightlife is amazing. Most of the bars, it's free to get in. I don't think we even paid for a bar. You're just paying for your drinks, which are super cheap,
Mm-hmm.
and they're very strong. So be
Oh.
careful for the island drinks.
Do they have a drink that is specific of Belize?
They like rum and Coke.
Okay.
So they have a lot of rum and like coconut drinks because
Mm-hmm.
there's palm trees everywhere. So I remember like just walking during the day, and I said, I want some fresh coconut water. And literally one of the guys jumped up the tree, sliced it open with a machete, ran into the liquor store, added a shot of rum, and I had my drink with a straw.
Oh,
It was
Lord Jesus.
the best adult beverage that I had. And it was just amazing because I was on the island, soaking in the sun and enjoying my little coconut drink and no problems. It was great. It was
Yes.
amazing.
And the freshest ever. Like he climbed the tree and gave it to you right
Oh my
there.
God. I said, are you going to fall? Like I'm nervous. And he's like, no, I got this. And it was just perfect.
Yes.
Yeah, it was the best coconut I ever had.
Yes. Mireille just wrote, I want one right now. I think we all want one.
Oh my God, you and me, like, I want one so bad right now. You have no idea. So yeah, it was amazing. Like the drinks were amazing. Everything's amazing about Belize. And I mean that with my heart. Like I'm not gonna advertise somewhere that I've been if I don't think that it's good. But I really want everybody to at least visit Belize once. You will literally walk away a happy person. it's such a humbling experience. And I had like a spiritual experience in Belize. And so I think that's why I will always return to Belize, because the energy is just amazing. I'm all about energy and all about like happiness at this point in my life. And Belize did not disappoint at all.
That
It
is
was so
great.
amazing. So again, we talked about how like cheap Belize is, but it gets even better. It gets cheaper. We went to the zoo and I'm a big fan of animals. And so it was only like $15 to get in. It's a smaller zoo. And it is just amazing. You see so many rainforest animals. One thing that I got to do is a private feeding with the baby jaguar, $10. And I got to spend 30 plus minutes with this baby jaguar, feeding him frozen chicken wings.
Wow.
Yeah. They love meat, the jaguars.
But
But the cool thing,
I wouldn't think that you will feed them frozen chicken meat though.
their jaws are so strong.
Oh.
And the chicken, if you've ever smelled like frozen meat, it's very strong for some reason. So like, I mean, like if you let it thaw out a little bit, so they can smell that. And so I got to do a feeding with baby Cheeky, which is a jaguar that they rescued. They found him drowning in one of the, like, I believe it's like some type of Amazon river. And the baby jaguar lost its mom. Like the mom never came back for it. So if you lose an animal in the wild, you either rescue it or just let it,
Let it
be.
die.
But they're prey at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So this jaguar just was jumping all in this cage. I'm inside the cage. He's jumping everywhere for some frozen chicken wings. So beautiful, eyes like claws, just the spots. Just the encounter I had with a jaguar from Belize was absolutely amazing. And I would not change that for the world.
Wow.
It was great. So always, I would highly encourage you guys to visit the Belize Zoo. It's about 45 minutes from Belize City, and you can drive there. We rented a car, which was absolutely cheap. We had the car for like 2 days, and I think we paid like $100. And it was a SUV. It was a Ford Escape. And so it wasn't that expensive at all. And that allowed us, renting the car allowed us to go and do a bunch of stuff that was not on the island.
Oh.
So take advantage of renting cars and exploring the stuff on land in different cities in Belize instead of being confined to your island, because there's so much outside of island life that really defines what Belize is.
Yes.
So it's absolutely amazing. 1 second. So we talked about the Mayan ruins. There's a big Mayan ruin called Zunitunich, and it means the sculpture of lady. And that was the one we didn't get a chance to go to because the river flooded from the rainy weather. But it's absolutely huge. So when you are looking on Instagram or any type of like Google search and you see these big temples and big Mayan ruins in Belize, I'm pretty sure the pictures are Zunitunich, just because it's the largest one. But that was like the only one thing that I really, really wanted to do that I didn't get a chance to do, but that's why I'm gonna go back to Belize to do stuff that I missed, because there's so much to do in Belize. So much. When I was on the island of San Pedro, which is a water taxi ride from Key Cocker, and it's maybe like 20 minutes at the most. San Pedro's more of a modern style island. So there's like a lot of cobblestone walkways, where Key Cocker, it's all sand. If you're in a restaurant eating in Key Cocker, it's sand. Sand, sand, sand. But if you're in a restaurant eating in the island, on the island of San Pedro, you're gonna probably get like concrete or cobblestone. It's more modern. So my advice is, if you're gonna stay on the island of Key Cocker, buy some really good water shoes. or some comfortable shoes, because the island is built for walking. The island's motto is called Go Slow.
Go slow. Okay.
Yes. So take your time on the island of Key Cocker. You can walk, you can rent a bike for $5, or you can rent like golf carts. So when we went to San Pedro, we rented a golf cart because it's a bigger island and it was really rocky, and walking became tiring after a while.
Yes. And how many people do fit in the go-kart?
There was two. It was me and my husband.
Okay, okay.
So we rented one for two, but there's golf carts that you can rent. We've seen people like up to 4 people in a golf cart. So they have different golf carts, and you'll see them on the corner, like at a store. You just go into the store, hey, I want to rent a golf cart. They hand you the keys, you pay the money, they tell you what time you need to bring it back, and that's that. It's like renting a car, but you're renting a golf cart from a convenience store.
Nice.
So when I was on the island of San Pedro, my husband was like on my nerves. I'm like, you go to this side of the island, I go to this side of the island, and we'll meet in the middle. And so when I went to explore the island by myself for a little bit, and then we rented the golf cart, I met a man there, and this is my spiritual connection to Belize. His name is Coconut Leo. Coconut Leo, who's in the picture with the locks, is an absolutely fabulous man. I didn't know how popular this man was, and I'm sitting in a bar drinking a Belgian beer, which is their national beer, talking to him, and I'm absolutely intrigued by this man. So I'm buying him a beer because I want to understand more about him. So he goes to the bathroom, and the bartender said, hey, do you know who this guy is? And I'm like, no. He's like, that's Coconut Leo. And I'm like, who's Coconut Leo? I'm like, it's just a guy in the bar bought a beer for, like, who's Coconut Leo? And he was like, he's a famous person on this island. He does a lot of entertainment. So he's like, I don't know who I would compare him to in the US, but he's just an entertainer. So he would climb up like palm trees, backflip off. And like, he's so popular. Like he's in people's weddings. People pay for him to be in his weddings because he's such a good guy. Well, the cool thing about Coconut Leo is that he asked me where I was from, and I said, Colorado. And he was like, oh, I know about Colorado. And then he told me, like, I know what Colorado's known for. I was like, no, we're known for mountains and other things besides what people think Colorado's known for. And so we were talking about like health, wealth, energy, religion. And I was telling him, like, my dad survived like cancer. And he was like, I'll be right back. I want you to take something home to your dad. He leaves the bar and comes back with this big old bushel. And I'm like, are these herbs? Like, what is it? He said it's cerasee. Now, if anybody's ever been to like Jamaica, you may have heard of cerasee tea.
Cerasee?
It's really popular.
I had gone to Jamaica, but I'm not sure if she had the tea. Did you?
Yeah, it's a tea that's very potent, and you're not supposed to drink it all the time, but it basically cleanses your blood. It's a healing tea.
Oh.
And so, like, if anybody ever wants to see the video of Coconut Leo gifting me with this healing herb, I will share that with you guys.
What's the name of the tea again?
Cerasee. It's CERASEE. Cerasee.
Cerasee tea. Okay.
It's a herb. You let it dry out. You use it as a tea. It's good for just like, it's a good way to cleanse like your blood and your toxins and stuff. It's a healing tea. It's known to cure cancer. It's a very, very powerful tea. And the fact that this man went out of his way to get me some so that I could bring it back to my dad was amazing. I just felt like spiritually connected to him. I had this overwhelming feeling on the island of San Pedro, not just because of Coconut Leo, but because there was signs everywhere. The major religion in Belize is Christianity. So on the island of San Pedro, I would see like a Catholic sign, or I would see a sign that says God is good, or anchors everywhere, something that symbolized biblical and religion. And I just had this like overwhelming feeling, like this burst of energy being on the island of San Pedro that I've never had before. It
That
was
is such a
absolutely,
beautiful experience. That's
oh,
what you
it was,
kind of, that's what you look for when you travel to all this, to other places, to find that connection with the people from there. So it's
yeah.
great to see that you lived that.
Oh my God, I would live it over and over again. And that's why it's so important to blend in with the locals and get to know stuff outside of tourism, because there's a lot to learn from the locals. I learned a lot about the Mayan culture just from the board of tourism. And the lady in the board of tourism was of Mayan descent. So she got to share her family story with me, as well as the story of, you know, San Ignacio and like the Mayans. I mean, that stuff you can't get online. That stuff you have to get from actual people that have experienced it in their family. And that's what makes Belize so great. People have a story to share. And I will always be grateful for that. And I loved Belize so much. I started looking for houses, Vanessa. I was like, I'm moving here. I'm gonna retire in Belize. And so
Hey,
I
I've
think I
been
will
watching for
retire.
the past 4 days. I've been watching a House Hunters International, and I'm inspired.
Oh my gosh, I'm retiring in Belize. I'm like, you're either coming or you're staying, but I'm going. And so Belize is just absolutely amazing again. Let's see. So a lot of people always ask me, like, when's the best time to visit Belize?
This is perfect. You're so thorough. I love it.
Well, it's just from experience. I wish that somebody would have provided me with this, but I had to fly during hurricane season. And coming back home, we flew over a tropical depression where the plane kind of just like, and flew back up.
Woo.
And I almost like lost it, but it wasn't that long. But the flight in was very good. We went in the fall, which is the rainy hurricane season. But the cool thing about going in the fall, if you're okay with flying and like, dealing with rain, you don't get a lot of tourism. So you're able to negotiate, you're able to get through things a lot faster, and it's not as congested. You're able to sit down and talk to people because they don't feel rushed like during tourism season. But the downfall of going in the fall is because it's rainy. We didn't get to go to like the big Mayan ruins. We didn't get to go to the ATM cave, which is a crystallized cave with Mayan like bodies still, like mummies. And you can like swim upstream, and it's a lot. So we didn't get to do that because we went during this time, but we will definitely shoot for the dry season so we can do more things like zip lining, a lot of jungle adventures, because Belize is one big rainforest. It really is really humid and warm. Pack lightly. Absolutely pack lightly. I took a 27-inch luggage with me, trying to pull it on island sand. It was the worst thing ever. All I needed was like 10 tank tops and like 10 shorts, and I would have been fine.
Nice.
So pack really lightly because it doesn't snow there. And it's humid all the time. If it rains, it's only raining for an hour, and that's about it. Summer and spring is also perfect weather. A lot of people go there. There's a lot of animals that are having babies around that time. So you get to see like the migration of whale shark. You get to see a lot of other things going on during that time. But they say the winter dry season is probably the best. So that would be your November to about April for winter dry season. Yep. So,
and the Airbnb that you stay have washer and dryer, or is that something that doesn't really exist there?
It doesn't, but you can request it. So they are very accommodating. They don't do like daily laundry pickups, but like if you spilled some on your shirt, the housekeepers would find a way to wash it. Yep.
Orlando is saying that thank you so much. This is very informational.
Yeah.
Thank you, Orlando, for being here.
Yes. Feel free to send me any messages, you guys, or if you want to see more videos or pictures and things like that. It's kind of hard to put it on a PowerPoint, but I have so many pictures and so many great stories to share about Belize. But one thing that we do, because I'm like a planner, and I like to save money when I travel so I can have money for my next travel.
Of course.
So some of the ways that we save money are here. We would ask locals. You know, the locals are the best tour guide you're going to get. Why should you have to pay for a tour guide when you can just ask a local? Tour guides are really expensive, and they're people that aren't really from Belize. I'm not going to ask a white tour guide that moved to Belize 6 months ago for help. I'm going to ask a local that has like a Mayan background, or that's a Belizean Creole, or somebody that's lived there all their lives and was raised there. So
Absolutely.
ask the locals. That's the best way to find the best information. Also, check out Airbnbs, and a lot of people don't know there's Groupons for you know, international travels, or you know, just traveling outside the United States. There's Groupons for that. So always check the Groupons, because you never know how much you're going to save until you look.
That's good. I have a long time I don't check Groupon, but that's a great tip.
Yeah, Groupon's a great place to look for, you know, just discounts and things of that sort. And a lot of people think that it's only exclusive to use it in the United States, but it's not. So, and then one thing we did was barter and negotiate with locals when necessary. Like, we're not going to take advantage. Locals earn their money just like we earn our money. Mm-hmm. But if you're trying to sell me 6 limes for $5 and I offer you $3, that gives me more wiggle room to buy more fruit from you. So, I mean, barter and negotiate, but don't take advantage. Only do it when necessary, because these people have a life and they need to live just like us. I see a lot of people that try to take advantage of people on islands, especially indigenous people, like the Mayans and things of that sort. So, I mean, don't take advantage. Just barter, negotiate, ask. They'll let you know. Don't harass. Don't like bully. Just do what's necessary. Do what you feel in your heart.
Yes. And at the end of the day, we're traveling to these countries to support the local communities.
Exactly.
So I bargain, but I'm like you. I'm like, I know my limits.
Yeah, and these people live off of the money that we give them. So some of the tourism money, like if somebody is selling fruit at the farmer's market, they're not getting tourism money. They're just getting money from you. So don't take advantage of those people. Just ask. You know, they say no, respect that. If they say yes, use the money that you were going to save and buy something else and give back to their community and their family. So, also, number 4, build a budget guide and plan ahead. So a lot of people just travel on a whim and then they come back broke. I have been guilty of that. I've learned to build a budget guide.
We all have.
I've learned to build a budget guide just to balance out things, because like I said, I want to save money so I can come back and visit Belize. I don't want to overspend and then have to work harder and harder and save up and wait 3 years to go back to Belize. I want to go to Belize every year. If I had it my way, I'd be in Belize right now.
Hey.
But yeah, build a budget guide and plan ahead. I mean, a lot of the things that we learned, we planned ahead. We did research. We, asked questions. We requested a booklet from the tourism board because they're free. We requested that like a year in advance to kind of pinpoint what we wanted to do. And then we were able to build our budget guide out of that booklet and just out of videos and things on YouTube and stuff like that. People tend to think Belize is really expensive because the videos that you see on YouTube tend to be a lot of rich kids going to Belize, but that's not the case. They are just spending money, unnecessary money, on stuff that maybe they're accustomed to and maybe other people aren't accustomed to. So, yep. Visit during the tourism off season. So like May through November, it saves you money. It's not as congested. You can get around a little bit more. you might be dealing with a little bit of rain, but that's okay. Rain's expected. But if you visit during the tourism off season, you'll save more money.
Mm-hmm.
Number 6, research. Like, do your research. So many people have bad travel experiences because they don't research. They just kind of like wing it. But if you do your research, you'll kind of balance things out to where you're not as stressed. I mean, we live in like weird times right now. So why add that stress to travel? You want to travel freely. Like the island of Key Cocker says, you want to go slow. You don't want to rush things. If you research, you can, pace yourself. And don't be scared to try the street food at all. The most amazing food I had were from street vendors in carts. Very clean, very nice, very helpful. They love to talk. They want to introduce you to their food. If you watch some of the shows on the Food Network, some of the best foods are on the street.
Mm-hmm.
These are people that genuinely love to cook. It's humbling for them, and it's a great experience for them to introduce you to food that they made with all their heart and soul. So,
yes.
Yep.
Was it easy for you to communicate with the locals? Did you find that they spoke more Spanish or English or the Creole?
So on the island of Key Cocker, it's more Creole. Yaman, like it's more like what you would get in like the Bahamas or Jamaica, in those parts of the Caribbean. But you can understand it because everybody goes slow on the island. So they talk kind of slow. And so it was easy to understand it. In Jamaica, I feel like they talk a little faster. Perhaps, I don't know, that's just my experience. But I think that English is the primary language. So it's like a broken English on Key Cocker. But in like Belize City, English was not a problem. San Ignacio, because it's more of a Mayan influence city, they do a lot of Belizean Creole and some Spanish.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Some Spanish. Like we ate at a restaurant in San Ignacio, and I had the best tortilla in my life. And so when they look at my husband, he looks like he can be Mayan. He looks like he can be Belizean Creole. He looks like he can be from Morocco. He's Puerto Rican. And
wow.
and so people tend to talk to him what they think he looks like.
Uh-huh.
So he was able to translate Spanish. So good job on that. But
yes.
it wasn't a lot of Spanish at all.
Okay.
It was more like Spanglish.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Radesi is asking, what is the name of the island that we need water shoes for? I think it was Key Cocker, because you say it was sand.
Because it's sandy.
Mm-hmm.
And so, one thing about definitely if you're going to go to any beach town, I would advise getting water shoes. I got mine on Amazon for like $15, and they are still alive and working today. The thing about Key Cocker too is if you go during like a rainy season or a wet season, they call it, be careful. There are these insects called sandflies. And they're like bugs. Yeah. So we were in bed one night and we kept like itching our legs and we're like, is this bed have like bed bugs?
Uh-oh.
It was sandflies. So if you're gonna visit a sandy beach town in Belize, make sure you have some type of insect repellent, which we did, but it was not strong enough. We were told that the insect repellent doesn't really work well with the sandflies until you simply use baby oil.
Oh.
So the thing about sandflies is they're so small, they don't bite you like on your chest or your face or your hands or arms. You get bit the most like above your ankle. Like where your ankle, like mid ankle and down, I guess would be the best way to explain it. They're little ankle biters.
Wait, so I normally sweat my feet, and that's why I don't wear sandals in the summer. So if I put baby oil, I'm not gonna be able to walk.
You might have to look into something that's gonna work for you, or you might have to go during the dry season, or maybe not even stay on the island of Key Cocker. Maybe stay somewhere where sand flies are not that bad, but they kind of like just bury themselves in the sand. So they're little like mites, kind of like mosquitoes. And when I tell you, I got bitten so bad with sand flies that when I came back home, it literally took like a month for the bite marks to go away.
Okay.
But I would
They don't hurt. They don't hurt.
You don't feel it.
Okay.
I mean, you feel it, but they don't like bite. It's more like itchy, like you're scratching your skin type thing. But they don't bite. They're not like mosquitoes, like, and they're like little red bumps. Mosquitoes are like a lump, a red bump or something. But yeah.
Someone asked, what kind of information did you find in the materials that the tourism board gave you?
So one of the things that I found out was about like free tours or things you can do on a budget. Also, where to go and and don't go here, or like we even asked her like, where's the best place to eat? And she knew like right off the top of her head. She said, do you prefer this type of food or this type of food? We also learned, let me think, in the city of San Ignacio, they're also known for chocolate, like chocolate making.
Oh.
So there's like chocolate tours every hour, I believe, but it's not the chocolate you would think it would be. These are like cocoa bean, and they call them chocolate tours, like the actual real cocoa. I'm thinking we're gonna make like fondue and dip some marshmallows in chocolate, and that's not the case. You're getting the real full experience from beginning to like, this is how chocolate is made. Here's the bean. This is how we process it. This is how we mill it. That type of thing. So it was really cool to learn that. They will also tell you about like the best places to shop. They also tell you about like what bars are most accommodating.
That's good.
So it's you mainly asking a lot of questions. They also tell you like, hey, Monday through Tuesday, it's gonna cost like $20 to go to this ruin. But if you wait, or you say the board of tourism referred you, you would get a discount.
Oh.
So it's name dropping sometimes with the tourism board.
That's good.
Yeah,
well,
but
guys, take notes and do your research.
I also learned from the tourism board is you don't have to pay for tour guides for a lot of stuff. The information's there. She told us enough stuff to where we didn't really have to pay for a tour guide. A tour guide in Belize is pretty much a waste of money. You can do your research on your own.
Yes.
Belize is a small country. It's only about 390,000 people.
Wow, that's not a lot.
It's not a lot. And everybody's so nice and helpful. So I wouldn't advise paying for, unless you're going to do a group. That's the only time I would advise getting a tour guide, because you get all these people that get to go with you and it's cheaper.
Yes, absolutely.
If it's 2 people like me and my husband paying for a tour guide, it's a waste of money. But if it's a group, like if the Latino World Travelers, we decide to go on a group trip to Belize.
That would be amazing.
That would be so amazing. Plan it, Vanessa, let's do it.
Well, we have to wait until this thing,
Yeah.
We can only dream right now. And plan in the background for future dates, but nothing is really solid, to be honest, because you don't know what's going to happen or when people are going to have the confidence to travel again.
Yeah, it's really scary. People just have to take precautions. I don't think traveling should end. I think that people just need to be really careful and respect each other. And there's just so much that I still want to do in Belize. Like I have a list of things that I absolutely want to do that I didn't get to do, because even though it's a small country, there's a lot of stuff to do.
Yes. How long do you recommend people go there for?
I liked going there for a week because there's a lot to do. It just depends on your schedule. I'm an educator, and so I get fall break. And so I get a week off and I use my week wisely. It just depends on what your job is accommodating for. I don't think you can get a lot out of Belize by going 3 days. You really need to be there for 5 days or more. And even if you go there for 5 days, you need to plan it out carefully so that you can get an experience from different sides of Belize, from different cities of Belize too. Another thing that I wanted to do is they have a big Garifuna. I don't know if you guys ever heard of it.
Garifuna, yeah.
They have a big Garifuna community, which is like a Rastafarian type of like Afro Latino descent. And they have kind of like Carnival. So Carnival's big in Belize too. They have a festival, the Garifuna community has a festival. Surprisingly, Easter is a big, big holiday in Belize. And Independence Day in Belize is really big. Belize is only 39 years old. It used to be called the British Honduras. And then once Belize got its independence, they changed the name to Belize. So the actual Belize is not that old. It's 39 years old.
Okay, wow. And Easter is big because of his background, of religious background?
Yes, because of the Catholics. So they really they're heavily on religion, and so Easter is like a celebrated fest. It's a big deal in Belize.
That is awesome.
Yep.
Oh, Brian is saying that he's planning to come to Belize soon. Yeah.
Brian, you melt my heart. Like Belize, you have to go, Brian. I'm telling you, you won't be disappointed. So ask any questions. Everybody needs to go to Belize. We're actually planning to go back in the fall if everything lets up. I don't know why my husband wants to go in the fall again, but we're going to take my sister-in-law and her boyfriend. And they're like super excited because we talk about Belize so much in our house. Like, so Brian, yes, go to Belize. You will have a great time. It will not disappoint you whatsoever. You will be so amazed by the beauty. It really is Central America's hidden gem.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you guys have any questions? I know she gave us so much useful information, but this is the time. If you have any other questions, just unmute yourselves and ask the question you want to ask.
And if you're too shy to ask questions, I won't judge you. You can email me, or you can DM me, or you can find me on Instagram.
Yes. I want to ask, because I'm a foodie. I love to eat. And what was the #1 restaurant that you went?
Oh God, I can't think of the name of it, but I'll have to get back to you. It's in San Ignacio, and that's Southeast Belize, and it was really cool. It was Mexican food with a Mayan twist to it, and it was really popular. I mean, it was like getting a seat in that restaurant was like, wow. A lot of people went there that day. The best tortillas I ever had were there. The food was really great, flavorful. The service was great. It was amazing. All of the food is good. It's hard
I'm going to harass you until you give me that name.
Yes, I will find the name for you. I wish my husband was here. He could tell me off the tip of his tongue, but yes, it is amazing. I will send it to you after this. I have to look it up. And the fact that it was amazing and I can't remember it because my mind is like,
you concentrated on the food itself, not the name. So it's valid.
Belize is good. One good thing about Belize too is their hot sauce is really big out there. There's a lady by the name of Marie Sharp, and Marie Sharp has this hot sauce line, and now I'm seeing it come to the US, but it's like really good hot sauce with like habanero peppers, and sometimes they put it on their food. I mean, the food was so good I didn't really need it, but I would sprinkle a little on my eggs or whatever sometimes. But Marie Sharp's hot sauce line is amazing.
I like bringing my husband hot sauces from wherever I travel because he loves it. I cannot eat spicy food, but that's like something that I always bring him when I travel.
Oh, yep. Look up Marie Sharp's hot sauce. They're on Amazon, I believe, too. But it's amazing. Yep.
Well, thank you so much, Cheyenne, for introducing us to Belize.
So
I loved
excited.
everything that you presented to us, and I'm really looking forward to going. I am going
Yes.
to message you for the name of that
I
place.
am going to send it to you. And I just want to thank you again. You, like I said, you've created a platform for Latinos of all walks to share their experience. And we need to travel more. We need to get those stamps up in our passport, and we need to share those experiences. And I, hope to meet everybody one day on one of the travel tours, and we all can just kumbaya once the COVID-19 is easing up on us.
Absolutely. Thank
Yes.
you for
Thank
saying
you.
yes and for being a great and crucial part of our community, whether it is posting your own experiences or commenting on our group. And I thank you because I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate your support.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Have a beautiful day.
All right, you as well. Bye.